I'm not accustomed to feeling sorry for multi-billionaires, but poor old Elon Musk. The guy's under a lot of strain. Apparently he's sleeping on his couch in his office. He makes a few mildly unguarded comments about the state of modern media, and suddenly he's a Bond villain.
No doubt you have realized the splendor of my conception. First, a necklace of death about the earth. 50 globes, each releasing its nerve gas over a designated area.
Although, of course, this isn't the first time that he's been compared to a Bond villain. Now, I share some concerns about the privatisation of space, and anyone who used to be involved in PayPal is clearly suspect, given all the bizarre and mildly unethical practices that have gone on at PayPal, both before and since its acquisition by eBay. And, you know, of course, he's a white South African, and they do make great villains. But even so, nothing really seemed to stir the pot until he criticised the media. And then, well, they all seem to have piled on, and a whole bunch of stories about him seem to have come out. Nothing really substantial, just kind of an immediate knee-jerk reaction attack upon the man and his character, proving really everything negative that he ever had to say about the media. Perhaps the most egregious example of this was a series of personal attacks from a female reporter, who will remain nameless so that she can't claim that I'm harassing her, who then claimed that Elon had basically set his attack dogs on her, which is the accusation that I'm avoiding. Now, I think the whole Elon Musk media thing is important because he is very much part of this whole Silicon Valley arch-left establishment, despite his billionaire status and so on. You know, he's an environmentalist, he's a forward thinker, he's pretty goddamn progressive, all things considered. But that wasn't enough, was it? You know, he turned on the media and pointed out that they are acting poorly. And, you know, he's not Trump, though his statements are being compared to Trump's. I think Trump has cashed in on a lot of people's distrust of the media through his overuse of the whole fake news catchphrase. But Musk isn't Trump. He is undoubtedly an intelligent individual. He is someone who has built up a huge business worth billions of dollars. It's just it's chalk and cheese. So if he sees issues with the media, more people are going to take it more seriously. And it's especially interesting to me to compare what's going on here to Gamergate. So he notes that aspects of the media are acting unethically, that they are lying, that they are producing fake news. He correctly identifies some of the issues around that, you know, clickbait, the demand for money that's driving poor journalism and lower pay and lower standards and so on. And what does the media do when he does this? They immediately attack him and prove everything that he said was right. And his solution to this is pretty much one of the solutions that Gamergate came up with. He wants to do a version of deep freeze for the whole media circus as a whole. So Deep Freeze was a website that was set up during Gamergate, semi-separate I suppose, that basically lists reporters and the organs that they work for, and keeps a track of their ethical breaches, you know, what they are and so on, and gives them a score, essentially. So if you read an article in any sort of games news site or whatever, check the byline, get the person's name, look them up on deep freeze, you can see whether they're a shithead or not, and exactly how much stock you should put in anything that they say, how suspicious you should be that they've got some sweet payola or they're doing some nepotism for their friends. And something like that for the media as a whole, scoring different sites and so on, seems like a reasonably good idea. I mean, you'd have to do some things to stop it being corrupted, but overall, you know, who watches the Watchmen? The media aren't doing a good job of watching themselves at the moment, or adhering to basic journalistic standards. So it's just really interesting to see the same kind of thing unfold over and over again. Gamergate, Comicsgate, now this, now Elon Musk. Someone who has enough money to really put some oomph behind it. And someone who is politically really on their side of the aisle, unlike the whole Gawker mess.
Over there.
You missed, Mr. Bond. Did I?
So what's going to happen next? Well, if things run according to form, all of Elon's friends, followers, fans will be painted as being, if not alt-right, at least right-wing and conservative. They'll be called misogynistic and racist and all the usual things. None of it will really stick outside of a particular media echo chamber, and the end result will be that a lot of people are driven to the right, because the only people that are now going to treat Elon Musk fairly, perhaps too fairly, will be right-wing media organisations who are happy to see him take their side, even though he isn't. The media really needs to get its house in order. We cannot rely on billionaires like Elon Musk, like Peter Thiel, suing bad actors into the ground. For one thing, people who end up as the heads of big corporations tend to be, but aren't always, psychopaths. People who have really their own interests at heart, and even when they align with the populace at large, I don't believe they can be trusted. But the media can also no longer be trusted. Citizen media, even like me, can't be trusted because we all have slants. I don't have the training. You know, as much as personally and I know other YouTube heads, strive to be ethical and careful about our information and issuing retractions and putting corrections in the comments and so on, it's not enough. I think we do still need a professional media, but it needs to be professional at media, not clickbaiting, not selling things. This just seems to be part of a general breakdown of society we have whenever the profit motive overcomes all other metrics of quality or usefulness or applicability or really any other measure you care to mention. Perhaps we need more state media, but without state control either, something like the BBC was supposed to be, with a charter so it receives public money and it's part of its remit to be neutral as much as is possible, but where it's not directly a football for the government to kick around. But there's one thing's for certain: we can't trust corporations to run the media, and we certainly can't trust corporations to police the media. Everyone's a villain when it comes to this. Zang.
Heartbroken, Mr. Drax. Allow me. Take a giant step for mankind.